A very good afternoon to everyone present here. My name is Arya Namyar, and on behalf of Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Veterinary Education and Research, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to the prestigious endowment lecture entirely sponsored by the Bank of Baroda. I request everyone to rise for the Tamil Hymn. To begin today's program, let us felicitate our esteemed guests. I request our beloved Dean to kindly felicitate our Honorable Chief Guest with a memento and bouquet. I now request our Dean to felicitate Mr. A.S.S. Prakash, Deputy Regional Head of the Bank of Baroda. I request Dr. Avinash Sir to felicitate our beloved Dean. I'd also like to welcome a respected madam sitting in the front row. To officially commence the proceedings, I invite our esteemed Dean, Dr. V. Selyan Sir, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Arya. Good afternoon, everybody. Most respected, the role model for any veterinarian in the country, Madan sir. So there is nothing like before him any veterinarian would have achieved in this country. I'm extremely elated that being another physiologist, it's an honor that we could have sir among us, because such a stalwart, people usually dream about getting a chance to interact with him. So that is how we used to feel for him. Like such a stalwart occupied several positions. During the introduction of the speaker, you all will come to know what are the various positions that he has occupied in his lifetime. And we used to go to SAPI conference, and Professor Naina will agree that all the students will be with him to try to get a glimpse of what he is to interact with him. Even 5 minutes you interact with him, your life can be changing, because that type of experience he can share. Even today morning he came and then sat and then explained how the system functioned when he was starting his career, how to get a project he has to toil hard, and then he was explaining how the scenarios have changed now and how he went abroad, all those stories. It's always an inspiring thing. Such a epitome of knowledge, you can't match his knowledge in terms of any field, because as the former Deputy Director General ICR, enormous contribution that he has made, and he was instrumental in establishing the specialized institute, National Institute of Animal Nutrition and Physiology at Bangalore, established under his guidance and his vision. It is a visionary leadership that is a depiction of what his vision is all about, because he felt physiology and nutrition are more primary importance, which we believe that now with the changing climate scenario that we are coming into reality and seeing that how these two subjects play an important role in an effort to move towards a sustainable livestock production in the changing climate scenario. That is the type of vision he had for the organization. Under his dynamic leadership, ICR had made a tremendous progress, especially the animal science. Still date, I am not sure if anybody have fit into his shoes as far as the accomplishment as a Deputy Director General is concerned. That is the type of contribution that he has made, and a very good master is he know how to get the best out of the system. So he knows, because he traveled across and he's been traveling now also. We are most wanted personality for delivering keynote addresses. Almost in any livestock conference in India, you cannot avoid that inviting him and conducting an international conference or something like that. That is his stature. Because I know him inside out, and the first thing he asked me after morning was why you did not made it to the SAPI conference, because people have to see personalities like you, because you are all upcoming physiologists and you also set a role model. That is what he tries to pass on the baton, and then try to see that how important it is to transfer knowledge to the next generation. So because he's very much specialized in the area of reproduction. I know a couple of people who have done their PhD at Canada. Once in a SAPI conference, if they were interacting with him, how nicely he's explaining the concept of reproduction. So especially in the dairy cattle. So almost 45 minutes passed by. We just thought it is just sort of 5 minutes or something like that. Such is the beautification that with which he explains the concepts very clearly. If you could have been a blackboard teacher, then just imagine what could have been his impact on the students that they are getting educated under his spell. There is no age to wish him, but then I only pray to the Almighty that he should stay more long and amidst us, and then let him share his knowledge and wisdom for us always, because we are looking up to him as a stalwart, as a role model for any veterinarian in the country, and that is his stature, and we wish that he will be still grooming many youngsters in the years to come, and let the God Almighty bless him with all possible good health and peace, and he should be with us for several long years to get that we all should get benefited by the vast knowledge that he exposes. That will be definitely doing. Why I signify his presence even before his CV is being read, because that will really stimulate you when the CV is being read. What are the achievements that he has made? It's near to impossible for anybody to cross. Always the records are meant to be broken, but I really doubt that any veterinarian in the country can able to do that what he has achieved. One thing you need to understand that what he has achieved is phenomenal in terms of the type of atmosphere that has prevailed when he started his career. So in that aspect, I know how tough it is for him to come to get himself elevated to the stage where he has honored and he has decorated the Deputy Director General, as well as he was in 3 different universities he was Vice Chancellor, because that is the type of contribution that he has made, and in any conference now also without him it is nothing. So when I was interacting with him on several occasions, these are the type of role models you need in the system, because you don't blame the system, rather what he tries to teach us to you is that you don't blame the system, rather than you try to change the system through your hard work and your ability. That is what he speaks. That is why most of the people who are with him, they set him as the role model, because cutting across, although he specialized in the physiology, if you can listen to him, because I happen to see a couple of his talks on climate change, such type of knowledge to gain. Even once he came to NIMP, I was not there on the day, and then there were a lot of participants along with him. He started explaining as if that he has worked in that facility. So that is the level of knowledge that he possesses. For the first time, he is seeing our facilities there in the climate chamber, and then he is explaining. We are a person who was staying there was not able to explain that efficiently. And I was told that so nicely he handled all the participants, because that is the type of knowledge that any area that he touches in the livestock production, so he is a master of that. So that is what we need to do. Although I really appreciate all my students today, because although it is a declared holiday by the government today, but then still like you all made it. Okay, so to listen to sir, that itself is a token of respect that we can pay to you, because you don't get to see such type of stalwarts coming and delivering lectures to you. But then these are the opportunity, we should never let it go waste. So it's important that you all should be there. I wish that it should be a two-way process, especially for the students and also for the faculty. It will be a motivating lecture, I'm sure, with his vast experience. Please make use of his presence. Try to ask, even if it is the simplest doubt, he will be, because he will be always wanting to interact with the students, especially. So that is what. With these few words, I once again welcome him heartily on behalf of my personal behalf and on behalf of my faculty as well as my students, the river as a whole. So I wish him all good health and peace in the years to come, and he should keep coming and blessing us always. I also take this opportunity to welcome our regional manager of Bank of Baroda, who is sponsoring his visit today, Madan sir's visit. And I also place my record, my sincere thanks to them for bringing in this concept of endowment lecture, which has been not happening quite some years now due to the COVID, and then we are happy that we have resumed it. In fact, this meeting should have been scheduled last year, but then unfortunately due to the he was in the Delhi airport and then the flight got cancelled. That's what he made a point also in one of my recent SMSs, that whenever I make a trip to Pondicherry, like some natural calamity always happens, and I wish that I don't know when it is going to happen that I come and see all of you. And today it is reality, sir. The stage is all yours. And I also thank all the entire staff of Bank of Baroda for giving us this opportunity to host such a laureate. To me, he is like a Nobel laureate, because Padma Shri was the first time in the institute history that a Padma Shri is coming and visiting all of us. It makes a lot of impact on the institute also. And to the information of our chief guest Madan sir, like this is getting live telecast across the globe now, so people are watching you also through there is a cell worked towards last 2 weeks to get this, because last time itself they have missed, and it is now all our alumni distributed every part of the world are watching live. And I also wanted to place on record my sincere thanks to all my faculty who have supported this endeavor, and I heartily welcome each and every one of them for being present here in spite of the cyclone threat, and then the institute is being declared a holiday, but still they are also there coming and support enormously this type of scientific interactions. And above all, my dear students, please make use of this day, because it could be a life-changing moment for all of you on this particular day. So please make use of this important milestone. And I also heartily welcome Madam Madan for her maiden visit here to the institute, and it's been extremely pleasing, Madam, to have you here. And we are very thankful for accompanying sir. So like I hope that we will be able to satisfy whatever that we could offer in this small program. And special mention about Avinash sir and Dr. Venkatesh Perumal for efficiently coordinating this event, because I've been keeping very busy of late. Hardly any time for me to even interact with Madan sir. So because I told him already that in the SAPI conference, international conference, we are going to host, already the planning started with Madan sir. So probably at the time I will be able to spend some leisure time, because of the various pressing institutional activity I've been keeping busy. So Avinash sir has been handling through Dr. Venkatesh Perumal for seeing through this day into reality. So I once again thank the entire team who rallied behind and then organized this program in a nice manner. Thank you so much, and let us listen to the chief guest, because I should not occupy this chair, because this belongs to him for today, and we are here to listen to his. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words and for setting the tone for today's event. Now, it is an honor to have a very esteemed individual with us today. Allow me to provide a brief introduction of Padma Shri Dr.Motilal Madan. Sir was born in Srinagar, India on the 1st of January 1939. He was educated at the National High School in Srinagar from 1947 to 53, Sri Pratap College, Srinagar from 1953 to 55, Punjab College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, Hisar, 1955 to 59, NDRI Karnal from 1963 to 65, the University of Missouri, USA from 1968 to 71. He got his Doctor of Sciences from University of Agriculture and Technology, Kanpur, 2001, Doctor of Sciences from University of Guelph, Canada, 2012, BBSc and AH 1959 gold medalist, MSc 1965 gold medalist. He got his PhD in 1971, DSc in 2001 and 2012. Sir was a veterinary assistant surgeon and extension officer in Shopian, Kashmir from 1959 to 63, demonstrator at the Dairy Husbandry Division at NDRI Karnal from 1965 to 66, assistant professor at Punjab Agricultural University, Hisar from 1966 to 68, associate professor at Animal Production Physiology, Haryana Agricultural University from 1972 to 79. He was the professor and head of the Department of Animal Physiology at NDRI from 1979 to 86. He was the head of the Dairy Cattle Physiology Division from 1986 to 94 and the project director for embryo biotechnology from 1987 to 94 at NDRI Karnal. Sir was also a consultant for FAO and UNDP in 1992. He was the joint director research at NDRI Karnal from 1994 to 95. He is the Deputy Director General for Animal Sciences uh, under ICAR New Delhi 1995 to 99, Vice Chancellor for Dr. Punjab Rao Deshmukh Agricultural University at Akola, Maharashtra from 1999 to 2001, Vice Chancellor at UP Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Pashu Vigyan Vidya Vidyalay एवं गो अनुसाधन संस्थान Duvasu, Mathura from 2006 to 2009, Chairman of the Livestock Subgroup, Haryana Farmers Commission in 2009, President of the Society of Animal Physiologists of India or SAPI, Chairman of the National Task Force on Animal Biotechnology, DBT, Government of India from 1999 to 2005, Chairman Education Committee, Veterinary Council of India, New Delhi, and Member Executive of the VCI from 2002 to 2005. He is an expert member of Animal Science and Fisheries of the Parliamentary Committee to Evaluate Research Work for ICAR Institutes, New Delhi, 2005. He is a patron of Society of Animal Physiology in 2014, Chairman and member of official delegations for bilateral collaborations between countries like China, Russia, Netherlands, Canada, Brazil, Afghanistan, and France under the OIE. He is the chairman of ICAR Committee for formulation of the 11th Plan Programs for Animal Sciences Research and Education in 2006. He is a member of the Swaminathan National Task Force for Revamping Agriculture Education and Research, Planning Commission, Government of India, 2007. Sir is also the chairman of ICAR National Committee for Research Project Formulation, Evaluation and Monitoring of Research 2010 to 11, chairman of QRT CIRB Hisar 1992 to 2006, PDC Meerut from 2012, chairman of ICMR ICAR Expert Committee for Evaluation of Oxytocin Use in Plants and Animals 2011, chairman RAC of IVRI Izzatnagar 2011, chairman at QRT CSWRI Abhikanagar 2015, chairman of RAC NDRI Karnal 2016, serves the member of AS Army National Committee for Revision of Scorecard 2016 to 17. He is also the chairman of ICMR ICAR National Committee on Biosafety and Nutrition 2017. He is a member of the Ministry of Agriculture DARE Committee to undertake outcome review of various schemes of ICAR for 12th Plan 2017. He is a member of the Union Governmental Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairy National Committee of One Health in 2022. Sir thrived in the research areas of animal physiology, endocrinology, environmental physiology, and reproduction biotechnology. He developed quick microquantation assay techniques such as RIA and DIA for over 12 hormone systems from a single blood sample. For working animals, he developed and published a drought fatigue scorecard, laid foundations of research in animal reproductive biotechnology in India, and pioneered in embryo transfer technology, producing a record of 10 calves from a single elite mother within a year's time. And Sir is the one who produced the world's first ever in vitro fertilized or test tube buffalo calf known as Pratham. Using the IVF technique, he also innovated in the production of the first buffalo embryo in the world. The technology is now extensively adopted for field use by different agencies, including the Government of India. Sir delivered an invitational lecture on buffalo IVF at the World Reproduction Congress in Sydney, Australia in 1994. He's worked as a UNDP and FAO consultant on reproductive technologies in the developing world. As an environmentalist, he has developed a unique biodiversity park at Nagpur and a collection of 358 medicinal and aromatic plants at Akola, Maharashtra. He holds the unique distinction of 100,000 plantations in a single calendar year under the Green Campaign. He is a keen mountaineer and a sportsman and has represented state and university in cricket, ICAR badminton champion, and dedicated Rotarian involved with differently abled and mentally challenged children. Awards and honors by Sir include the Padma Shri Award by Government of India in 2022, Vidya Ratna Award in 2020, Haryana State Highest Award in Science and Technology, Hari Om Award in 1990. Aikar Rafi Ahmad Kirwai Award in 1992. Aikar Om Prakash Bhasin Award for Science and Technology in 2002. Dr. B.P. Pal Memorial Award 2005 to 2006. National Academy of Agricultural Science (NAS) Science Pioneer Prize in 1985. Egyptian Veterinary Association for Buffalo Development Nalis Lagerlof Award in 1985 and 1997. D. Sundaresan Award in 1989. Nirmala Memorial Award in 1994-1995, OGOURA Award in 1995, Japanese Society of Animal Reproduction. Malika Trivedi IAAVR Award 1997, Rotary International Award 1998, Asian Australasian Association of Animal Production AJAS Purina Award 1999, Rotary International Service Excellence Award 2001, Rotary International, Safi Honorific Award 2002, Distinguished Veterinarian Award in 2002, Indian Association for the Advancement of Veterinary Research, Alumni Excellence Award 2004, NDRI Lifetime Achievement Award under the Indian Society for Study of Reproduction and Fertility in 2011, ICMR Centenary Award of Honor. The Ramaswamy Ovation Award at the World Congress on Reproductive Health, ISSRF 2017, Honorable Lieutenant Colonel, NCC Akola, Maharashtra 2000, described him as Kisano Ke Mahanayak in the documentary episode 31 in 2018 and cited him as the father of animal reproductive biotechnology. He also received the Changemaker Rotarian Award in 2022 for exceptional contribution to service to change lives by Rotary International District 3080. Sir's main research areas include biotechnology in veterinary and animal science, animal physiology, and reproductive endocrinology. So without further ado, let us move on to the highlight of today's event, the endowment lecture. I invite our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Motilal Madan, sir, to deliver the lecture. The topic for today's lecture is Design of Biotechnological Advances for Sustainable Capacity Building in Health and Production Among Livestock. Sir, over to you.
It has been an experience of sorts amongst you. Tulware has identified sea as vast, calm, deep, rich, and ferocious. Today I have seen the functioning of the sea in front of my eyes. I think Sejam is a synonym to this Tulware's description of the sea. I feel greatly pleasured to be amongst you here today. And that too for several reasons. The first and the foremost reason is that I'm visiting an institution which is undergoing a great transformation these days. And secondly, that it is being led in this part of destiny by a dynamic instrument of human change. I was trying to fish out, as far as climate is concerned, the literature which is available on climate change. And then I landed on a paper in which I kept on turning the pages. The paper will not end. And the rich material which was in that was colossus, which I had not seen till that time anywhere under a particular subject of climate change. I tried to find out who is the author of this. The name sounded familiar, but I did not know. The author was Sijin. And it is that point that I wanted to twist him. And probably whether he remembers it or not, the first thing I did was I shot out a mail to him. I couldn't get the mail address and all that, but I could manage it. And then I shot a mail address to him to applaud him the way he had composed the whole information together and interpreted that information. There are several papers which are available in the literature in which they pour out data. But what is important is not the data, what's important is what you infer from the data. And that's your session. I'm saying that probably that he is interpreting the institution in which he is in the same fashion. He's not talking only about the buildings, he's not talking only about the infrastructure, but he is going towards the prospects of knowledge. I'm highly thankful to you and to the faculty here that having provided me this opportunity to be coming to you. The weather god was not kind at one point of time, because last time when I sat in the plane and we took off, we were going for the takeoff, suddenly the pilot announced that this flight is not going because we have information that the airport is underwater at Chennai. So that was almost this time last year. So I had here to wait to come to the sea. In any way, while listening and seeing the audience and talking to the people this morning, I imagined that should I be talking about a sophisticated subject of which I had indicated to, or I should go over to the basics of science, pour out to you the affinity which one has to develop towards science, scientific research and profession. Why we are seated here together today is that we are married to a profession. And if all what was read here by the young lady, and thank you for having read so long, that was not for me, it was for veterinary. Because she said that once I had my schooling, I came into the veterinary school. And since all what I am is what this profession has given me, because otherwise, I think the only thing which I came from my home was a cricket bat. But the most it could put me into a university team or in an NG team. But this profession took me to places. And wherever I had been to, this was not me, but it was a celebration of the veterinary profession. I remember two such occasions which I must share with you. One is that once it was announced that a team in India has successfully produced the world's first in vitro fertilized buffalo calf. I received an invitation from the International Reproduction Society that was going to meet in Australia, that you come and present your work. When I went over in there, at that time, the announcement did not say me by my name. They said that a scientist from NDRI is going to present his work. And this word India and NDRI stuck to me at that time. I said, it is this profession which has brought me to that point. And the second thing which really I felt that the veterinarian is being recognized is when the oldest veterinary college in the world, the University of Guelph at Toronto, was celebrating its 150 years. They invited me for delivering the convocation address to the veterinarians. At that time also, I felt very humbled in receiving a Doctor of Sciences from them. Now, why I am saying this, there is a beautiful verse which is written for this thing. The image which you see on the screen might be mine. All what you said, maybe it is me. But who are the hands who made me? The hands are those people who have been working with me, my colleague professionals, who have day in and day out strived. I was this morning sharing with some of my colleagues that how it used to be an open house, fight for all, and we used to sit with our students and preparing to go to a conference to present a paper. So it was a question that which everybody has to prepare and prepare well and not go half-hearted in any of your work. Anyhow, having made these introductory remarks, I prefer that I take you through a small journey. A journey part imaginative and part factual. But at the same time, a journey which should stimulate you and bring thought to you and produce a spark in you. And that is the presentation which you see in front of you. And in this presentation, I intend to be talking about 4 things as the title which suggested that I should be speaking on. What are the 4 things? I will be talking to you about livestock in the changing agriculture. And in the changing agriculture today, where livestock is capacity building, I shall endeavor to be making you nearer to the factual of evolution, and in that, the gamete function. The thing which has become very critical in present-day science, in present-day veterinary profession, is in terms of gene technology, both in health and production, and finally go over into the designer techniques and technologies which will involve several things of fertility, gamete, and manipulation of gametes and things like that. So let us start onto this journey. Livestock production system. This animal is not alone, nor is the man. When we are talking of livestock production system, every time we have to address ourselves to the four important things. We have to address ourselves to the person who owns this animal. That's the man. It is only through this person who mans this animal that we are able to reach the animal. That's when I say delivery of services. In delivery of service, I consider man an equivalent partner to the process in which the veterinarian should be. And then the plant, which supports both man and animal. And this whole thing comes out of the soil. So this is what we talk of the production system. But then there is what we call as the capacity building. Often people have not taken this capacity building in the current proper sense. Capacity building, they often say, is that we make a structure somewhere. We provide a facility somewhere. That alone is not capacity. Capacity building has several definitions. We talk of capacity building as knowledge, skills, and attitudes. That's why we need to emphasize more. We talk of capacity building in terms of capabilities. We talk of capacity building, ability to do something, to conduct and produce appropriately. And finally, capacity is seen as a defining people, institutions, and practices that enable countries to achieve their developmental goals. So when we see this thing, capacity building in titles, I try to refer which of the things one is really referring to in the title. Because it encompasses everything. And unless you are very clear where you want to go, it's not proper to just use this capacity building word. Now, this capacity building, in terms of physiology, in terms of the functioning of an animal, because when we talk of animal, we talk of various disciplines. Just as I was talking here, whether you have 17 departments or 18 departments. We talk of an animal who is supposed to be looked after by 17, 18 departments. But what are they really looking for? They are looking for the function of a cell or an organ or a system. And what is the science which tells you about an organ or a cell or a function? It is physiology. And therefore, what we talk of, when we talk of capacity building in animals, in 20, we say that we are talking of all this discipline, biological discipline, in which we are talking of bringing out external influences, inducing changes, influencing the functioning of the cell. So the way you function will alter the functioning of the cell. There is other way of also judging this. One is that you are preventing the cell to be deformed, cell to malfunction. But when we are talking of capacity building, we say that we are talking of the cell that it should be functioning at its optimal level. And how do we increase its capacities? That we increase the optimal functioning of that organ. A man can go about 10 yards down in the sea It can go 20 yards, it can go 30 yards, it can go 40 yards. 40 meters. How does this happen? Because he develops the capacity to go down and down and bear that pressure. So that is, it develops a change in the organal function. And that change is to be looked for, that development. Imagine an udder of a female cow. I hope you know that to produce 1 liter of milk, how much blood must go through the udder? Anyone? 400 liters. 400 liters of blood should go through a cow to produce 1 liter of milk. Now imagine a cow who is giving 60 liters of milk. What must be happening in the udder? How must this milk be synthesized? And when we are saying that we are bringing in the capacity increase, there is not one factor, there are several factors which will come in to play a role. Imagine that all this is manufactured there. This does not come from somewhere. The protein is being put in there, the electrolytes are being put in there, and lactalbumin is being put in there. The protein is being synthesized, and then this is being then put out of the cell. Exocrine activity. Now those mechanisms which are involved. Now one has to go, imagine another imagination I am talking about. Imagine a cow in snow, or an animal, a reindeer, in snow, trying with his mouth to open up the snow and pick up the pieces of grass, and eats this grass. His body is full of snow, but he is still eating. What a miracle of life it is. Now why and how does it do it? Because of physiological adjustments. And that is what we are talking about, that capacity building. And that's what we are trying to look at. And we have to have the attributes of the animal so that we can look into these aspects. Having said that, let's go a little bit into this agriculture which is in transition these days. I think as veterinarians we must fully understand this, that agriculture is in deep transition. And that deep transition, why I say that there is a perspective for techniques, technologies. We have a limited land piece. On a limited land piece, we have got a huge human population. On top of that, we have got having an animal population. I hope you all know there are 536 million animals, according to the last census. Then we have 851 birds. Those are the poultry. I'm not talking about the birds, I'm talking about poultry. And then out of them, they are all in the backyard. That is in the villages, not in the organized nation. And all this I'm saying is because of a very small portion of land is owned by farmers. 57% of this percent of our population does not have any land, but they live. They live because of livestock. Not only do they live because of livestock, but they stem the total economy of the country. It is this livestock which is able to give economy to the country, and through that we see that our GDP is positive year after year. Very often that agriculture was minus, but when we combines with about 6% annual, 5.4% to 6% annual growth in animal husbandry and livestock sector, that it gives about 2% growth in our agriculture. And that's how the agriculture is most important for our national economy. And therefore, don't forget that you are playing a very important role in the national economy as far as the livestock. Because you are the one, this is the backbone, livestock is the backbone of this agricultural production. And in this agricultural transaction, something has happened very important. See, our agricultural production, we call of self-sufficiency in food production. We are proud of it. We have got exports of food in this country. At the same time, that we find that there is a high degree of poverty, and there is malnutrition, there is starvation, there are stunted children. I did a study in the schools around Karnal and found out that the farther the school was from the town, the shorter was the height of the boys and girls. Because nutritional effects. Now, when I'm saying that, that means that in spite of that, our plus in food or nutrition is not poverty. Now, this is a very close situation. So that is where we are very critical in this situation. The change which is coming about. That change has to be taken. Then there are what type of strategies we need to have. There is technological intervention studies, and there is what we talk of the new farming studies for cattle that we call as digital studies. And in those digital studies, that we consider that agriculture transformation has to be looked in terms of the factors by which we are able to reach ourselves to these questions which I have put, that changing questions which I have said. I already told you about the economy, and I spoke to you about this growth rate, GDP. But something else I must bring home to you. You see this graph on the right, you see, in here. This one. You see, this shows the poverty. And those states and the growth rate, those states which are poor in livestock are having the maximum poverty. Those states of our country which are rich in livestock and producing livestock are the ones which are very low in poverty. And poverty, for example, in states like Bihar and Orissa or India, the poverty is highest, and where the returns are also very poor. So therefore it is the livestock, that's what I was telling you, it becomes very critical in terms of the functioning. Now, let's turn to the other side of this, that is in terms of the production. That we have also to select the type of species which we are talking about. So there is variation in terms of the returns which we get from the livestock. But we often say that it is for increasing the productivity, we need the gamete. Why gamete? Because this is the unit of procreation. You need an ovum and you need a sperm. That's what with the reproduction procreation we need. And the concepts of fertility and health were both attached to these two things, reproductive health. And this has come out over the evolutionary phases through the development of the sexual reproduction. I hope you are all aware of this, but you don't sometimes give attention to this. That in the evolutionary process, what has happened is this production of the gametes. There is a mitotic and a meiotic division. And in this that we find that the chromosome numbers, the gonadal evolution has taken place. They get reduced, they get altered. This process becomes very critical when we consider the subsequent development, because it is these gametes which come from the gonads. And there is this foundation of procreation, that is the union of the egg and the sperm. The egg is by itself one. But at the time of the union of the two, in the process of fertilization, you need millions of these sperms, as it is illustrated over in there. The important thing is that the egg shuts the door. Once one sperm has got in to that critical point, touch the zona pellucidum, and put entry into it, there is blocked to polyspermy. So no more sperm can enter. And this is a unique phenomenon. Phenomenon which has not been so far completely discerned. And this is one area which is open for people to do research. But what I am referring to this point is that the central focus of these gametes is in terms of fertility. And we are very much concerned in the livestock in terms of how the fertility is. Now this fertility is connected to what? This fertility is connected to cyclicity. In livestock, there is another excellent thing which evolution has brought in, and that is the union of the male and the female can take place only at a particular time, that time which we refer as estrus, where the receptivity of the female is towards the male. So once that receptivity between the two is there, the reproduction takes place. And along with this whole change is as a result of endocrine changes which have taken place. And it is these endocrine changes which became my primary focus of working in the area of production. Why is it that an animal estrous cycle is affected during climate? At that time when I thought about this topic, much was not known. At that time, the hormone was measured milligrams per liter of blood. And you can see, or micrograms per liter of blood. There was no method by which we could go to a lower measurement. Then came a publication which showed that there is a system by which we can estimate very low quantities, micro quantities, that is micrograms, through a process of radioimmunoassay. And that radioimmunoassay, I remember, was the first publication which showed that how we can do LH and FSH in cattle. And that publication, when it came in, that it went all over, as a graduate student. That's what I worked on. And my first job coming back to India was that I must develop this system of radioimmunoassay in the country. And through that estimation of these hormones, we could bring about that what are those changes which are taking place at the time of estrus, at the time of post-estrus, at the time of fertilization. And it is this which helped us in the process of in vitro fertilization. People were not successful till that time, particularly in Nepal. But this knowledge of endocrinology brought us to know about that, what this fertility is. And it brought us to the scale where we are talking of the genetic improvement of animals. I'm not going to talk about the genome as such, but I will talk about this endocrine manipulation. Brought us to the picture where we could stimulate, super stimulate the ovary and produce many eggs at a time. And take these many eggs and get them fertilized in vivo, in the female reproductive tract. Collect the embryos and transfer these embryos to the recipient animal who have been suitably prepared at the same stage of cycle. So it became the embryo transfer. So we had the first success in embryo transfer using this technology. By firstly super ovulating as it is in the ovary, then getting over into getting several of these overproduced and getting them fertilized. And the result of that was that we could get, as you can see in this picture over here, 10 calves from a cow in a year's time. She not having produced any of them, but it was her genetic material which was transferred. And this was one of the best cows we had, 6,000 liter cow, which was multiplied. So they became a breakthrough in the reproductive technology. Not only this is breakthrough, but even our side-wall cows that we could bring about this multiplication. This subsequently went over into bring about this fertilization which was taking place in the female reproductive tract. We got over onto the bench. We did this fertilization on the laboratory test tube by putting the two together at an appropriate time through a process which involved several steps. That the ova had to be cultured, it had to in vitro mature, then the fertilization took place. The embryo production will be there, and then it will go through the gastrula, blastula, and things like that. It will go through the growth. So that means that what was happening in the female reproductive tract, we did it outside. And that's what is the in vitro fertilization. And that was where we could get the world's first calf in vitro calf. This is the one which says it was born, and in here you can see that this calf went over to the bull and very excellently. And several of these cows which a bull performed in terms of normal bull and had the semen, the capacity and capability to fertilize. Not only this, then instead of causing the superovulation, we could pick up out the ovum from the ovary itself, because by that time technology has further advanced and improved. In 3 years' time, we could now take a needle to the ovary itself and then suck out ovum from there and do what we call as in vitro fertilization. Now we have been fertilized, we have these embryos. What are we going to do then? So we developed in the process of embryo cryopreservation. To take an embryo, cryopreserve it, put it in a can, and we called it the calf in the can. So virtually they were all calves. And we have been able to revive these calves from the can in our 12 years having been preserved. These embryos haven't been preserved over there. Now going further, that the technology further went over into the genomic selection, that using the genome. And in that it was found out that there are certain gene connections, some gene sequences, which are connected with the animal productivity. And so that was investigated over into. And an SNP chain was found out that by which we could get a better selection process. We could develop a better examination process and use that particular animal in which these SNPs are matching. And these were not one, they were about 40,000, 50,000, 470,000 SNPs were compared. Because by this time, a new branch of science came, that is about the computations. Those computations help over in that process. We went still further. Why not that we transform the cell itself? The cell is a factory, and this factory is being directed towards, when the cell fertilization takes place, that it is a simple cell. But then it undergoes some changes. We said that what are those changes? And we could bring about that alteration in the changes and therefore cause what we call as producing an embryo stem cell from which the further growth will take place, and through fertilization outside that we could cause production of a clone. That is cloning. And that cloning subsequently got another advance, and that is what we call for the using the scissor type of an example. That's called CRISPR technology, by which a single amino acid base is being touched and an alteration is made in the gene. So this is different than the earlier one where we were taking when we were saying transgenics. We are taking a gene from one to another. But here we are not exchanging any gene. We are just taking the scissor which cuts it over, and then we produce the other one. And we are talking of then using of this genome editing through various techniques which are available to us. And what has resulted in the technologies of genome editing? And these are fantastic technologies for genome editing. For instance, that you must be talking of through genome editing, we are talking of organ or tissue formation from stem cells. That we can order this stem cell to become a meat cell, the muscle cell. We can also go over into what we call a synthetic biology, a new field which has come over today, where we are talking of synthetic biology, we are talking of the engineering, the science, and the biology meeting together. And this is being done especially for study of the bacteria, where now we are trying to let how can the bacteria be turned over into organisms. Now it's just again fantastic. We are having new science which we call as microRNAs. Previously we were talking of RNA, which is supposed to be the one which is determining. But now we are talking of small pieces of this RNA, which has been fluency. And this has opened us a new door even for animals, which are clones. Maybe these microRNAs are making such a difference in the cloned animals. And many of these ethical questions come in there. That if we are doing this, how it is going to affect. And the technology and these ethical discussions are related as far as the genome concentration is concerned. For example, today we have got babies which are born to order. You order that I need blue eyes, I need brown hair, I need round face, I need 6 feet tall baby. So that's what we call as the designer babies. Now we design what we want to get. We want to have an animal which does not have a horn. We have got to design an animal. We want an animal that which produces milk, but that milk contains not only lactal but it contains alpha-physic. It contains biologicals. It contains medicines. Those medicines which were previously synthesized outside in a factory, but now have turned the udder into a factory by altering the mechanisms which are responsible through these gene alterations. And here we see that that incubation which used to exist between the sperm and the egg has changed. Because today now very important thing has come, the male fertility has also started coming. And there are various aspects of male fertility, I don't want to discuss about them. But taking a human perspective of this, biomedical intervention was simply so called to increase the capacity, was meant to restore something which was perceived to be missing or deficient. That's where we were talking about biology. But now we are fast approaching the moment when humans and machines merge. And what is the result of sex and sexuality as well? Today, in our laboratories, I don't need an sperm and an egg to produce young. I produce young one for the cell in the air. We produce a clone by taking a cell from the air and reprogramming the cell and then putting it over into an ovum nuclei. And then the young one which is crossed is a clone. And through that cloning, that we have been able to produce several young ones. I would like to say that procreation was after sexual maturity, or any time in the somatic cells. A young baby can also become the parent of a young one through the cell which we can take. And these technologies are fantastic. And then we talk of design technologies. We can design the young one which we want to know. We can design the half and the fetus. And in this designing process, the sperm and the egg is despair. They say that where we are. They have lost the track of importance which earlier it used to be. I would like to say that a designer's story, which I was talking to you, is a long story. I quickly went through some of the slides. The capacity building and sustainability. The technological advancement mostly performs with or without the gamete, and therefore it involves several things, several aspects, several advances which science has made. What an excitement it is. Tomorrow, people are working today on fossils, trying to get the cell DNA from a fossil, from an animal which uses fly. Now, if they are able to get that gene, which they use to fly, they can put that gene over in human beings, and human beings can fly. That's what I'm saying is the fantastic imagination. Though personally, I never needed these wings to fly. I used to fly in my dreams. Dream you must have. You must pursue your subject and And the day you start dreaming about that, that means you are on path. Once you are convinced of something, take it as a challenge. Take it as a challenge. The way I started as a cricketer. We as young people were made to run all around the ground collecting balls. The players will keep on hitting. Then when it used to come to our turn, they will make us to stand in front of the wicket and the bowler will come and in one ball the wicket will go. This pained me very much. Then what is this? We sweat all the time for running and then they don't give us even second ball. So I decided that I will not let this ball go to the wickets. How about me? We never, in practice times in the colleges, in those days, and all the 50s, 1950s, we never used to have these bats and other things. The gear. The gear which used to come only wicket keeper would have. The other would go with the bat and play. So I didn't allow this ball to go. And lo and behold, my mother saw me coming out of the bathroom. And she was shocked. She told me what he was doing. She started crying. My grandfather came. My grandmother came. See what has happened to you. My grandfather was a great sportsman and a teacher. He realized what it was. In their shouting and crying, that he said that, let's listen to him. I told him that what is it, let's do to this. The result of that was that I was not getting out. So they told me, oh, this man is not getting out, put him in the team. And literally, I got into the cricket team of the college because I accepted this challenge. And then I would not score. I would be 6 down, I would be playing 6 down, my score would be only 3, only 4. My only job was to stay. Then I learned when a serious colleague of mine taught me how you should hold the bat so that this ball does not come and hit your body. He told me how to keep the wrist, which I was not keeping it that way, and let the bat hang and see the direction. So that's the way I got over into the team. That's not the only challenge. In this work, there were several challenges. But I was giving you an example. In my PhD work, I had a tremendous challenge. I had prepared my thesis here in India. I had prepared my topic for thesis here in India and sent it over to US. They refused it, but I had to keep on working on it until it was accepted. So what I'm saying is that life today is a big challenge, and science is going through these challenges. You have to pick up your own challenge, and the way you are able to do it, you will always be successful, and then your life will be flowerful the way you see on the screen. My pleasure of having talking to you, and I'm sure that I have been able to bring home to you 2 things. One is have a dream to yourself. Have something within yourself by which you distinguish yourself from others. There was a young girl, she was pestering her father that please give me a scooter because everybody in the class has got. I told her only one thing. I told her, if you also have a scooter, then you will become one among many. But if you don't have a scooter, you are one among few. So what do you choose? You choose to have your own identity, or you choose to lose your identity. She accepted having her own identity. And on that basis, she distinguished herself. So always try to distinguish yourself. Make yourself different than others. And different to quality, quantity, and to the output. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now we have an interactive session between the faculty and the guests. So you can feel free to ask any questions to our chief guest.
Good evening, sir. Your lecture was amazing, sir. I have a question, sir. You explained how scientists are designing babies and how they are trying to merge humans and machines together. So it is as if like we are attaining the attributes of God actually. We are trying to become like God himself, more than God, because and our humans or our scientists are progressing in the same way as they are progressing in this aspect, as the same way as the ethical aspect of these things. Are they have are they ready to take the responsibility or it?
Who will come closer to the mechanism?
Are they, are they thinking are they ready to take the responsibility, ethical responsibility? Are they thinking in that way also? I'm wondering, sir, are we capable of handling, if something goes wrong, are we capable of handling those things also? Yes, sir. In the, let's say, designing babies, they are thinking of the ethical aspect also or not? Yes. Ethical aspect.
This is a very good question. Mr. Science is talking about ethical aspects of association. What is ethics? Ethics varies from day to day. What was true and prohibited about 50 years back is not prohibited today. England had prohibited this IVF, but now they are saying that you can talk of IVF in human beings and you can culture the young babies, but then you have to keep a record of this. Now, therefore, what I am saying is that any ethical question is a matter of time how it changes. For example, in the case of livestock, I can give you an example. Earlier, it was thought of that we used to have two types of diseases. One is swine fever, which you all know. The other is the avian influenza. Now, avian influenza the avian influenza is now corrected through a single gene. You just get over the CRISPR-Cas technology, cut the gene in there, replace one basic amino acid in there, and this animal does not suffer with that influence. Now, you have a new animal, so to say, but at the same time, there's earlier objections which were towards the genetic engineering is now no longer there. Because we are not now taking a gene from outside and putting it there. We are only making a mutation. This mutation is naturally also takes place. Several mutations. So therefore, this is an, what is true today will not be true, and that's where fine. I remember a story. of William Harvey. I wonder whether you know the name of William Harvey? Anyone? Any student? Oh, that's bad. William Harvey was the man who first found out that we have got a beating heart. The heart beats. So he wrote a book. And he wrote in an introduction that we as human beings have been gifted with a heart. And it is because of the heart we live. And you know how he did it? He cut his own wrist and he found out this blood was sprouting. And he could touch this sprouting with the beat of the heart. And he said that this blood is circulating. The king heard of it. He put him in prison. How you dare to say that my people live because of the heart? My people live because of me. I'm the king. So he was in prison for 2 years. He then innovated. He then wrote. He was mistaken. He wrote a treatise to circulation of blood. He wrote that he was mistaken. The king is in every person. And the king lives in the heart. And once he wrote that, it was released. So what is true at one time, it depends upon that what the things happen at that time. So what we need to do in terms of these ethical issues is they settle themselves. We have debates. I personally am of the opinion that there are tremendous debates about ethics, but ultimately the ethics settles of its own size, its own way. In our own country, you can see that how ethical issues come up and how ethical issues are solved. I have seen in my lifetime only that several ethical issues that it's solved of their own. I hope that when you grow more, you'll learn.
Next, if anyone wants to ask any questions.
Thank you so much, sir. It is really a great privilege to listen to you, such a great scientist, needless to say. I do not understand much about the modern genetical technologies. Just I want to hear your thoughts about the application of latest technologies like CRISPR-Cas, which may be used or being used for producing the genetically modified foods. So whether you will be able to speak something about the consequences of these genetically modified foods in our health and physiology.
What is the specific you would like to know?
Well, I think time is short, so maybe briefly if you can give
Time is short.
consequences of these genetically modified foods in future in our health or physiology. I think there are a lot of debates and this area. Many countries has approved, many countries has not approved. Certain items are approved, certain are not approved.
Sir, he wants to know about artificial meat. What consequences of artificial meat? Artificial meat.
Yeah.
The consequences of this.
Not only artificial meat, artificial milk.
That's what you wanted in the food.
Yeah, as far as the artificial meat is concerned, that you see a cell has been reprogrammed to go as a meat cell. The cell has been programmed to go as a meat cell, and this can then multiply like any other cell, and it becomes a meat tissue, and it is commercially available. No, I wanted to say this, that there is commercial. What has been there? That the cell has been reprogrammed. I will, to explain it more, explicitly, there is a cloth factory. In a cloth factory, that there is this machinery. What is the type of kind of product you get through this machinery is the type of the input which put in over there. You can get rayon, you can get soap, you can get... Now, if you change the pathways by which it passes, you can put in different designs into this. And if you change its mechanisms by which it passes, that means that you can get another product. It's a story in itself. When we did this thing with fertilization, etc., which I was not getting, my boss came to me and he said that, Madan, why are you wasting your time? So many people have done it, but they are not able to do it. Why are you thinking you can achieve this? We were traveling in the car at that time, going for a meeting. He was reading newspaper and saying this. I told him, sir, you give me 3 things. I will do it. He said, all right, we'll see. But then when I came back from that meeting, I then put it to the paper that you were asking us this thing and you given this thing. He gave these things. But I had, in my short-sightedness, asked for things that which are ultimately not the ones which are critical. So what was left for us? I had committed, I will do it. So the commitment came in. So what we did was that we went through the complete procedures. And this was a 24-hour work in the laboratory. 2 people, 3 people will work all around the clock. By turns, they will come in the night. We were actually watching the embryo dividing. There is no stereo microscope. We kept a petri dish at a particular temperature. And this had been kept in an incubator. An incubator we made a hole. This was not anywhere available, this type of equipment. And then we will keep on looking into this. Whether we are able to portray this thing, if we are able to, that is the time, then we got a window that is this many hours by which this thing happens. And we went through it. So the question, which is where we are with respect to these things, depends upon that how far we are able to take it. The question is all with us. The fantasies which we are talking about, I introduced you to a fantasy of the wings. Now, these things may look impossible at this point of time, but they come in reality. I wonder whether you have read anyone of these Asimov, the science fantasy writer. When you take that, or you haven't read anybody Pray, the book Pray by Crichton, and you develop the habit of reading books. This is very important in life. This is as important as your coursework. Read these books that which broaden your thinking. Imagine you standing and there is a you standing by your side which is not visible to you. And he is monitoring all what you do. And he is communicating all what you do to someone else. Imagine. The person is praying to his oneself. This is novel. It's nanotechnology, biotechnology. Why I am saying this is a novel today, but this is truth tomorrow. Arthur C. Clarke had predicted the date on which the man will land on the moon. Can you believe this? Isaac Asimov is today saying that we are going to, Today, that means today means in 50s, he wrote that novel. We are going to go and remove a clot from the brain of a surgeon through a submarine, which has been miniaturized. And today that has proved successful because of the nanotechnology. The nanotechnology is sent. You must have read it in the newspapers. How nanotechnology was responsible for removing the clot from the brain. So it has been written at that time, but that is what we call an imaginative writing. And these things subsequently come up. And that's what we call progression, which is by which we are going through. And the fantasies. Sometimes I tell Sijan, I told him once, that this doesn't worry me, this climate doesn't worry me. Because the time itself will take care of it. What is happening is that in spite of what we do, the evolutionary processes will continue. But the only thing is that that evolutionary process have to be modulated, modified, so that they are least cruel to we human beings who live in this age. I have seen a documentary, 75, The Dark Shadow, which you might have read. 1975. And this gentleman is parched. He has lost all his hair. In the area of art. And she, Patricia, developed an exhibition in Singapore, which I had pleasure of seeing myself. I have it on the slides also. That in which she says that man will have to carry his own eggs, like the marsupials, where they make a pouch for them a few months to go. He has portrayed that how a human being will be long living, 100 years, 200 years. They will develop like berries and live like berries. And there is a basis to this, why she is writing. She is saying that this Casper caused technology. These new technologies which have now come out in there. Especially now this devastating technology, where we are talking of changing bacteria into any form, is going to give a new science. So therefore that we are in a completely different world. I'm sorry I didn't get your question.
Very good evening, sir. I'm Mr. Trivedi. I'm very glad as a UG student to listen to sir. So my question is the major threat to the dairy farming is carbon footprint which we are giving in the dairy farming, sir. So in Canada, there's one farmer, dairy farmer, a band he was with. He produced crossbreeding, selective breeding cows who produce less methane as compared to the normal cows. In our India's circumstances, like globally, 14.5% carbon global greenhouse effect is coming from dairy farming, and that from automobile it's 15.5. It's equally both of them. So can we like genetically modified something we can do for reducing the carbon footprint from the dairy farming from our like native breeds, because both indicus is the more methane producing breeds if compared to the Bos indicus. So there is any we are coming with any programs or breeding programs which will help us to producing less methane or less carbon footprint. So that's my question, sir. Thank you, sir.
Basically, what is dairy farming? Can you sit down, sir? What is dairy farming? If you see, the dairy farming is utilization of resources to produce an end product. That's the farming, and dairy farming means using the resources through animal to make a product. Now, what are the resources which are to be used? That you know very well. Now, how best we can utilize these resources and convert it to the end product is the matter of consideration. I will like to tell you that about 25 to 30 years back, on an average we used to get 120 eggs per hen in a year's time. You know how many we get today? 330. And the hen is the same. But its efficiency of working has been increased. Its capacity has been increased. Similarly, we talk of pigs. It used to produce a litter of about 4 to 5 on an average. Today, on an average, about 16, 17 piglets. And this mother has got capacity to rear them for a few days so that they come out. So the question of dairy farming has to be looked after from 2 points of view. One is that what are your resources, and the second is that what is the profitability you want to make out of it. Because unless you make things profitable, then it does not really make farming. So these 2 things have to be taken into consideration whenever you are trying to make a life cycle enterprise.
Good evening, sir. I am Giridhan from third year BBC and Grades, sir. After hearing your lectures, I entirely sir, after hearing your lecture, I changed my perspective in my life and profession, sir. As a farmer, I asked some questions to you. In animal welfare point of view, we are exploiting the nature and like plants and animals. We talk about that equilibrium point, as you said, 120 eggs per in previous days, egg lays 120 eggs. But now it
what is the equilibrium point for animal? He said just now 120 eggs has become 332 eggs. So he's asking where is the equilibrium point where it's set up?
I talked only half of that. The other half is that in 45 days, we used to have 1.2 kgs body weight of the broiler. Today, it is 4.3 kgs. We have been selecting for gene by which the efficiency of conversion is increasing. They are able to convert that food over into their body mass. And that is what the selection process is. That's why we are talking of the genomic involvement over into animal production. For any production trait, that there is an expression which we call as the genotypic expression. So you have to have an estimation of what is the amount of expression which that particular gene is. And if now we take 30 animals and we find these 30 animals have got this particular genetic makeup, follow me? And out of that we take out the mean of them. And we see that this is a common mean of their genetic code. So take out that particular genetic code and try to put it in another animal and get them all. I hope you heard about my SNPs. What are SNPs? They are supposed to take the codes by which they relate their genetic composition to the output which they are having. So when they have put in about thousands of animals and found out that those which were giving more than 10,000 liters of milk all had this particular combination. They picked up that combination. And on that basis, they are now using it to select those animals which have got high productivity. Number one. Number two is that there is a bull. There is a bull in the United States. What is a bull? Whose gene is known in almost every animal which is born. Because he is the one which has been used most. And why is it that all bulls which are being used for production are the ones which are used who are born after family transplant and selected mated? They take it to make a selection that this female must be crossed with this male, and the outcome of that they get, and it gets mutual. Earlier they were making the only measure of the production, milk. But now they have reversed it. They take not only milk, they take 5 other parameters. The age of maturity, the birth weight of an animal, the cyclicity of the sand, the intercalling period of the sand, and finally the milk. And they mixed all these things that they found that their selection was better than taking the milk. So it is on the basis of the genetic makeup that you can get over into and have this increasing. If you have got chicken, these commercial producers, which are used over in the, for example, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, they are all doing this thing. They are using very hybrid material from outside and then crossing it out and elevating the broader body weight.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? I would now like to request our beloved Dean to felicitate the representatives from Bank of Baroda with a memento. Thank you, sir. Now to conclude today's program, I invite Dr. Nikhil sir to deliver the vote of thanks.
respected Dean Dr. V. Surgeon, Chief Guest of today's program, Padma Shri Dr.Motilal Madan sir, Head of the departments, other faculty members, non-teaching staff, and dear students. Very good evening to all. It gives me immense pleasure to deliver a vote of thanks for today's program. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Motilal Madan sir for accepting our request and traveling down from north to south to give a enlightening lecture on designer biotechnological advances for sustainable capacity building in health and production among livestock. Sir, your lecture is truly inspiring and informative. It is eye-opening for all of us. Secondly, I would like to thank our beloved Dean, Dr. V. Surgeon sir, for gracing this occasion and helping us in conduct this program in a smooth manner. Further, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Student Council Associate Patron, Dr. Arnash Lakawar sir, for taking up the program activities effectively and rendering all his support in possible way. I sincerely thank Dr. Venkatesh Perumal sir, DRA Academic, for taking all the for looking after all the accommodation activities and escorting our guest Gichi and chief guest for today's program. I must definitely thank Mr. Prakash, Deputy Regional Manager, Bank of Baroda, for gracing this occasion and also helping us to sponsor this program. And then I would also like to thank Professor and Head of various departments for their active participation in today's program and gracing this occasion. Then special word of mention to Mr. Xavier for helping us with all the photographs in today's program. I must also thank Dr. Madhumati Madam for helping us to go this program live. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the students for gracing this occasion and making this event a grand success. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. With that, we officially conclude the Bank of Baroda Endowment lecture. Thank you all for your presence and participation. Have a wonderful day ahead. I request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
Refreshment.